Modern India's complex legal foundation was systematically built over 170 years of continuous British legislative rule. This period splits into two distinct eras. The first is Company rule from 1773 to 1853. The second is Crown rule from 1858 to 1947. Early legislation aggressively centralized power under British control. Later laws systematically reversed this course, decentralizing authority back to the provinces. The modern constitution is the surviving scaffolding of these administrative trials, corporate regulations, and power shifts. This text outlines the Regulating Act of 1773. It marks Parliament's first attempt to control the East India Company, formally establishing the Governor of Bengal. 11 years later, Pitt's India Act established a dual governance system. It split the company's operations, assigning political control to a board of control and commercial affairs to a court of directors. Centralization peaked with the 1833 Charter Act. This law stripped the company of its trade monopoly, turning it into a purely administrative body under a unified Governor-General of India. By 1853, the East India Company had fully transitioned from a commercial trading monopoly into a centralized state apparatus, leaving it primed for a direct government takeover. The 1858 Government of India Act formally abolished the company. It transferred absolute governing power directly to the British Crown. The new role of viceroy was created to implement direct rule and manage the sprawling empire on behalf of the monarch. To manage this vast territory, the Crown quickly reversed decades of centralization. The 1861 Indian Councils Act restored legislative powers to provincial governments and introduced a modern cabinet portfolio system. Rising nationalist pressure forced the Crown to begin allowing limited Indian participation in the legislative process by 1892. Direct Crown rule quickly proved that managing a restless subcontinent required returning power to the provinces and offering token local inclusion. This document details the 1909 Indian Councils Act. While it introduced elections, it permanently fractured the populace by institutionalizing separate electorates for Muslims. The 1919 Government of India Act introduced diarchy, splitting provincial administration between executive councillors and ministers. Later, the 1935 Act abolished diarchy for provincial autonomy, dividing powers into three distinct lists: federal, provincial, and concurrent. These final acts built the direct structural framework for a modern federal state, but the deeply embedded separate electorates ensured political unity was impossible. This 170-year framework culminated in the Indian Independence Act of 1947, permanently bifurcating the territory into two independent dominions, India and Pakistan. The preceding decades of forced centralization, gradual autonomy, and complex legislative structuring provided the immediate, ready-made blueprints for their new sovereign constitutions.